Welcome dear student and Jai Swaminarayan. Today in this video we will discuss the exercise of the chapter number 5 laws of the motion. So dear student, let us start the first question of the exercise. First question is, give the magnitude and the direction of the net force acting on. So here we need to find the magnitude and the direction of the net force acting on. First, a drop of rain falling down with a constant speed. So what will be the magnitude of the net force when a drop of a rain falling down with a constant speed, right? So here the drop of the rain is falling down with a constant speed. So if the object is moving with the constant speed, according to the Newton first law, the resultant force, the net force acting on the raindrop is a zero, right? So answer of this first question, the magnitude and the direction of the net force. So here the magnitude of the net force on a drop of rain falling down with a constant speed is a zero. Why? Here the drop of rain is falling with the constant speed, and from the Newton first law of the motion, a raindrop is moving in a downward direction with a constant speed, or we can say that with a constant velocity, so that we can say that the resultant force on it is a zero, right? Now second, a cork of a mass 10 gram floating on a water. So when we put a cork of a mass 10 gram, is it will float on the water, right? So here the cork is floating on the water, hence the weight of the cork is balanced by the buoyant force, right? So here the weight of the cork is in the downward direction, but the buoyant force is exerted on the cork in the upward direction, right? And the weight of the cork is balanced by the buoyant force. So we can say that the resultant force acting on a cork of a mass 10 gram floating on the water is zero, right? Understand? So here the when we place a cork on the water, the weight force is in the downward direction and the buoyant force is in the upward direction. So weight force is balanced by the buoyant force, so we can say that the resultant force is a zero. A kite is skillfully held stationary in the sky, right? What will be the resultant force? Here the kite is skillfully held stationary. What do you mean by the stationary? When the object is stationary, when the net force acting on the kite is zero, we can say that the kite is held a stationary. So in the third case also, the resultant force is a zero. So net force on the kite skillfully held stationary in the sky is zero, because it is at a rest, right? So when the kite skillfully held stationary, we can say that according to the Newton first law, we can say that the resultant force, net force acting on the kite is a zero. Now fourth one, D portion. A car moving with the constant velocity of a 30 km per hour on a rough road, right? So here a car is moving with the constant velocity. Constant velocity, that means the if the resultant force acting on the car is zero, the car is moving with the constant velocity. Here the force acting on the car for the motion is balanced by the friction force of the tires of the car and the road, right? So since the car is moving with the constant velocity, the net force acting on the car is a zero. And next last point is a high speed electron in a space far from all the material objects and free of electric and magnetic field. So electron is moving with the high speed in a space far from all the other objects. It is a free from electric field in the magnetic field. So here when we place an electron in the electric field or in a magnetic field, a net force is acting on the electron, but here the electron is far away from all the other object, producing a electric field, magnetic field, gravitational field. So we can say that the electron is alone at a very far distance from the all the object. So we can say that a net force on the electron is zero. The force acting on the electron is zero. So understand this first question. Now question number 2. A pebble of a mass 0.05 kg is thrown vertically upward. Give the direction and the magnitude of the net force on the pebble during its upward motion, during its downward motion, at the highest point, right? So when the pebble of a mass, the mass of the pebble is given to you 0.05 kg thrown vertically upward direction. What will be the resultant force? What will be the net force on the pebble when the marble, or we can say that the pebble is move in the upward direction, when the pebble is move in the downward direction, right? And when the pebble is at a highest direction where it is momentarily at a rest. Do your answer change if the pebble was thrown at an angle 45 degree with the horizontal direction? So answer of this first question, when the pebble, we can say that the marble is thrown vertically upward direction, the gravitational acceleration is in the downward direction. So the force acting on the marble is in the downward direction. So when the during the upward motion of the marble, the net force acting on the marble is in the downward direction. And what amount of the net force acting on the marble? F is equal to m into g, right? So m is given to you 0.05 and g we taken 9.8. We get our answer F is equal to 0.49 Newton. And the direction of this net force is in the downward direction. Now during the downward motion, so when the marble is moving in the downward direction, the net force acting on it is same as in the upward direction, right? F is equal to mg. No other force is exerted on the marble. So we can say that only the gravitational force is exerted on the marble. So F is equal to 0.49 Newton, and it is also in the downward direction. So from this example, we can say that when the object is moved in the vertically upward direction or in the downward direction, the net force exerted on the object is F is equal to mg, and it always in the downward direction. Now, last point, at the highest point where it is momentarily at a rest. So at the highest point, marble is momentarily at a rest. In this condition, the resultant force acting on it is 0. So here at the highest point, the marble is momentarily at a rest. That means at a stationary. So we can say that according to the Newton first law, the resultant force acting on the marble is 0, right? Now, next question is, when we throw a pebble at the angle 45 degree, right? If the marble is thrown at an angle 45 degree with the horizontal, then at the highest point, it is horizontal component remains constant, right? So horizontal component of the velocity remains constant, but the vertical component is continuously changes. So as we were discussed previously, right? The motion of the object under the effect of the gravitational force, right? So understand the answer of this second question. Now, question number 3. Give the magnitude and the direction of the net force acting on a stone of a mass 0.1 kg. So mass of the stone is given to you 0.1 kg just after it is dropped from the window of the stationary train, right? So here when the object is dropped, or when the stone of a mass 0.1 kg is dropped from the window of the stationary train, what will be the magnitude and the direction of the net force? So here the mass of the stone m is equal to 0.1 kg, and when the stone is dropped, the force, downward force, weight force is exerted on the stone, and it is in the downward direction, right? Because here the train is a stationary. So the magnitude of the net force F is equal to m into g, right? So we get a 0.1 into 10, it is equal to 1 Newton, right? And the direction of this net force in the first case, just after it was dropped, is the downward direction. Now, second question, just after it is dropped from the window of the train running at a constant velocity of the 36 km per hour. So here the train is moving with the constant velocity, right? Stone is dropped from the window of the train. So net force, the Newton's was given us the Newton, according to the Newton first law, the train is stationary train, and the train is running with the constant velocity, both are the same situation, right? So in the second case also, the net force acting on the stone is same as in the previous case. So here, when the train is moving with the constant velocity, the net force F is equal to mg, and it is in the downward direction. Since the acceleration of the train is a zero, no other force is exerted on the marble, right? So in the second case also, the net force acting on the stone is a 1 Newton. Now third case, just after it is dropped from the window of the train accelerating with the 1 meter per second. So here, the when the train is traveling with the acceleration of the 1 meter per second square, following force will act. First one is the weight force, horizontal force of the train moving with the acceleration a. F1 is equal to m into a, right? So mass of the train is a 0. Mass of the stone is a 0.1, and acceleration of the train is a, and horizontal force it is a 0.1 Newton, and that is in the horizontal direction, in the direction of the train. And second force, that is the weight force acting, weight force of the stone, it is equal to mg, 0.1 into 10 or 1 Newton. So here the two type of the force acting on the stone. First one is the horizontal force, that is in the direction of the moving train, 0.1 Newton F1, and second one is the downward force, weight force, 1 Newton. So the resultant force is a F is equal to under root of the F1 square plus F2 square. So that is the resultant of the two vectors, right? F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos theta. So the resultant force F is equal to under root of a F1 square plus F2 square. So by calculation of these two, put a F1 is equal to 0.1 and F2 is equal to 1 Newton, we get a 1.01 Newton. Approximately we take a 1 Newton, and it is in the direction of the theta is equal to tan inverse 10. So how we can find tan theta? Tan theta is equal to y component divided by x component. So here the y component of the force is a 1 and x component of the force is 0.1. So we get a 10. So it is in the direction of a tan inverse 10, right? Now fourth question is, lying on a floor of a train which is accelerated with the 1 meter per second square, the stone being at a rest relatively to the train, right? Neglect the air resistance. So answer of this four, when the train is traveling at a 1 meter per second square acceleration of the stone lying in the bottom of the compartment of the train will be a 1 meter per second square. So here the force acting on the stone is F is equal to ma, because the weight force is cancelled by the normal force. So when the stone is lying on the train, the weight force is in the downward direction, but the weight force is cancelled by the normal force, right? So only the force acting on the stone is the force by the acceleration of the train, m into a, 0.1 into 1, we get a 0.1 Newton. So dear student, understand the answer of this all the first three questions. Now dear student, let us see the question number 4. One end of the string of a length L is connected to a particle of a mass m, and the other to a small peg on a smooth horizontal table. If the particle moves in a circle with the speed v, the net force on the particle is directed towards the center is blank. So if we consider a string like this, and one end of the string is connected of a mass m, so this object is moving with the in a circular motion of a radius r, like this, right? Circular motion of a radius r. So now what is the net force? That is the centripetal force towards the center of the circle. So here when the object is moving in a circular path, the centripetal force is provided by the tension force produced in the string. So the answer is the first, tension force T, right? So for the particle moving on a circular path with the constant velocity, the tension capital T provides the necessary centripetal force, and this centripetal force is towards the center of the circular path, or For that, we can write a formula. Tension force T is equal to centripetal force. What is the formula of the centripetal force? M V square by R. Right? So centripetal force is provided by the tension force T. So the answer is a first capital T. Right? Understand? Question number 5. A constant retarding force of a 50 Newton is applied to a body of a mass 20 kg moving initially with a speed of the 15 meter per second. So how long does the body take to stop? So here a body of a mass 20 kg. So mass of the body is given to you 20 kg moving with the initial speed. Initial velocity of the body is a 15 meter per second and constant retarding force is a 50 Newton. So we take a retarding force F is equal to 50 Newton. Here the retarding force, that means we take a F negative, F is equal to minus 50 Newton. So here the retarding force F is equal to minus 50 Newton, mass of the body 20 kg, initial velocity of the body is a 15 meter per second, final velocity is a 0 because how long does the body to take a stop? So final velocity is 0. We need to find a time t, right? So according to the Newton's second law of the motion, F is equal to ma. So from that we can easily calculate retardation produced on the body. So retardation produced on the body A is equal to F by m. F given minus 50 divided by m 20. So the retardation, or we can say that the acceleration is equal to minus 2.5 meter per second square. Now according to the first equation of the motion, v is equal to v0 plus at. Here the final velocity v0 initial velocity 15 plus retardation is minus 2.5 into t. So from that, if you calculate the time taken to stop the body, t is equal to 15 divided by 2.5, that is a 6 second, right? Understand? Now, question number 6. A constant force acting on a body of a mass 3 kg changes its speed from 2 meter per second to the 3.5 meter per second in the 25 second. The direction of the motion of a body remains unchanged. What is the magnitude and the direction of the force? So here the mass of the body m is equal to 3 kg, initial speed of the body 2 meter per second, final speed of the body 3.5 meter per second, and time is given to you 25 seconds, right? We need to find a force, right? How we can find the force? So from the definition of the acceleration, a is equal to change in the velocity divided by time, right? V minus v0 divided by t. So we get 3.5 final velocity minus 2 initial velocity divided by 25. So we get the acceleration 0.06 meter per second square. Now constant force, the magnitude of the constant force F is equal to m into a. So m, mass of the body is given to you 3 and acceleration a is the 0.06, that is F is equal to 0.18 Newton, and the force is, here the acceleration is positive, that means the force acting on the body is towards the direction of the motion. If we get the acceleration negative, the force acting on the body is opposite to the direction of the motion, right? Now, question number 7. A body of a mass 5 kg is act upon a two perpendicular forces 8 Newton and 6 Newton. Give the magnitude and the direction of the acceleration of the body, right? So here if we consider the object, the two forces act upon the two perpendicular forces. First force is in the horizontal direction of the 8 Newton. So F1 we take a 8 Newton, and second force is that is perpendicular to the first forces. F2 is equal to 6 Newton. So here the two perpendicular forces acting on the body of a mass 5 kg, right? So the resultant force is in this direction. So how we can calculate the resultant force? The angle between these two forces is a 90 degree. So resultant force acting on the object or resultant force acting on the body, F is equal to under root of a F1 square plus F2 square plus 2F1 F2 cos theta. Here theta we taken 90 degree, cos 90 is equal to 0. So we get F is equal to under root of F1 square plus F2 square. So the resultant force F is equal to under root of 8 square plus 6 square. So we get F is equal to 10 Newton. According to the Newton's second law, F is equal to ma. So A is equal to F divided by m. Here F we get a 10 Newton, m 5 kg, 10 by 2. So acceleration is equal to 2 meter per second square, and it is in the direction of the resultant force. So the resultant force is in the direction of a 10 inverse F2 by F1, y component divided by x component, right? So 10 inverse 6 by 8. So if you find the 10 inverse 6 by 8, that is a 10 inverse 0.75. So if you calculate the angle from the log table, the 10 inverse 0.75, that is approximately 36 degree and 53 minute. So we can say that the acceleration is in the direction, magnitude of the acceleration is 2 meter per second, and it is in the direction of a 36, approximately 36 degree, with the force F1, with the force of a 8 Newton. So now dear student, question number 8 of the exercise. The driver of the three-wheeler moving with the speed of the 36 kilometer per hour see a child standing in the middle of the road and bring his vehicle to the rest in a 4 second, just in a time to save the child. What is the average retarding force on the vehicle? The mass of the three-wheeler is 400 kg and the mass of the driver is a 65 kg. So here the total mass of the vehicle, four-wheeler and driver, is a 465 kg, right? So here the four-wheeler is moving with the speed of the 36 kilometer per hour. So the initial velocity of the vehicle is a V0 is equal to 36 km per hour. Convert this 36 km per hour into meter per second. So how we convert the 36 km per hour into meter per second? 36 multiplied by 1000, 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meter. Divide by 3600, 1 hour is equal to 3600 second. So if you calculate that, the initial speed of the vehicle, three-wheeler, is a V0 is equal to 10 meter per second. Here, to save the child, right, the vehicle must stop before hit the child, right? So the final velocity of the vehicle is a 0. So the acceleration produced on the vehicle, retardation produced on the vehicle, is equal to v minus v0 divided by t. So here the final velocity is 0 minus initial velocity 10 divided by time given to you 4 second, right? So his vehicle to rest in a 4 second, time is a 4 second. So the retardation produced in the three-wheeler is a minus 2.4 meter per second square. So here the total mass is given to you 465 kg. So the retarding force on the vehicle, according to the Newton's second law, F is equal to ma 465 into a minus 2.5. We get the retarding force F is equal to minus 1162.5 Newton. Minus sign indicate that the retarding force on the vehicle is in the opposite direction of the motion of the vehicle. So here the magnitude of the retarding force is 1162.5 Newton, and it is in the direction opposite to the direction of the motion of vehicle, right? Understand? Now question number 9. A rocket with a lift of a mass 20,000 kg is blasted upward with the initial acceleration of the 5 meter per second square. Calculate the initial thrust, or we can say the force of the blast. So here if we consider the rocket is blasted with the initial acceleration of the 5 meter per second, right? So if we consider that the rocket is moving with the acceleration of a 5 meter per second, so it's a pseudo random acceleration is in the downward direction. So in the downward direction there are two type of the forces acting on that, right? Which weight force of the rocket W is equal to mg in the downward direction, and the 50 ds pseudo random force is in the downward direction. So the total force acting on the rocket F, or we can say that the thrust F is equal to mg plus ma, or we can say that the m into g plus a, right? Mass of the rocket 20,000 kg into g 9.8 plus acceleration of the rocket is a 5, right? If the rocket is moving with the constant speed, the net thrust on the rocket is only mg, but here the rocket is moving with the some acceleration, so the net thrust is increased by a ma. So the net thrust force ft is equal to m into g plus a. So the net thrust acting on the rocket is a 29.6 into 10 raised to 4 newton, or we can say that the 3 into 10 raised to 5 newton. Understand, dear student? Now, dear student, question number 10. A body of a mass 0.4 kg moving initially with the constant speed of the 10 meter per second to the north is subject to an force of a 8 Newton directed toward the south for a 30 second. Take the instant the force is applied to be t is equal to 0, the position of the body at that time be a x is equal to 0, and predict its position at the t is equal to minus 5 second, 25 second and 100 second. Here t is equal to minus 5 second, that means the before the 5 second before the force is applied, right? So here the mass of the body is a 0.40 kg and it is north direction moving with the initial velocity 10 meter per second in the north direction. The force acting on the body 8 newton, it is in the downward direction for the t is equal to 30 second, right? So if we consider this figure, here the force is applied initial velocity, the body is moving in the north direction with the initial velocity 30 meter second. Now we need to calculate the position of the body at the t is equal to minus 5 second. Here time is not in the minus, t is equal to minus 5 second, that means 5 second before the force is applied, right? So here at the time t is equal to minus 5 second, x position x is equal to u into t. So before the force is applied, the body is moving with the constant velocity, and for that distance calculated by velocity into time. So initial velocity u is a 10 and time is a minus 5. So before the force is applied, the position of the object is minus 50 meter. So we can say that the position of the object is 50 meter away from the force is applied at the position at where the force is applied. Now at the 25 second, now second we need to find the position at a 25 second. So at the 25 second, so at the 25 second x2 is equal to ut plus 1 half at square, right? So here we need to calculate the acceleration. So at the 25 second, the force is applied at the x equal to 0 second to the 25 second, right? So we need to calculate first the acceleration. A is equal to f divided by m. The force is a 8 newton, but it is in the opposite direction, so we take a minus 8 divided by mass 0.4. So we get the acceleration A is equal to minus 20 meter per second, right? And from that the position of the body at a 25 second, x is equal to v0t plus 1 half at square. So here v0 is a 10, t is a 25, 1 half, a is a 20 minus 20 and t is a 25 square. So from that we can calculate the position x is equal to minus 6,000 meter, that is the 6 kilometer minus 6 kilometer. So here minus sign indicates that it is away from the original origin, right? At x equal to 0. Now, third one is that when the force is applied for a 30 second distance covered by the object, right? X30 is equal to ut plus 1 half at square. So here u is equal to 10 meter per second, t take a 30 second and acceleration is equal to 20 meter per second. So if you calculate the position of the object at a 30 second, x30 is equal to v0t plus 1 half at square. It will be a minus 8,700 meter. Now velocity of the object after 30 seconds, that is v is equal to v0 plus at. v0 10, a minus 20 into 30, right? So v is equal to minus 590 meter per second. So at the 30 second, the initial velocity of the object is a minus 590 meter. That will help in the calculating the position of the object at a 100 second. So position of the object at a 100 second, x100 is equal to x30 plus x70, right? So 30 second up to 30 second, what amount of the distance traveled by the body? and from 30 second to the 70 second, what amount of the distance traveled by the body? So x30 plus x70. So here correct this, not a x30, x70, right? So x30 we were calculated minus 8,700 meter. Now x70 u into t. U we get a minus 590 meter. Minus 590 into 70, we get minus 41,300 meter. So the position of the body at 100 second minus 8,700 minus 41,300, that is a minus 50,000 meter. That is a minus 50 kilometer. So when the force is applied at a x equal to 0, the position of the body at 100 second, after 100 second, is a minus 50 kilometer from the initial. So the position at a minus 5 second, that is a minus 50 meter. Position after a minus 25 second is a minus 6 kilometer, and the position of the body at 100 second is a minus 50 kilometer, right? So dear student, understand all the first 10 question of the exercise. So thank you very much for watching my video.